Thank you very much, Mr. Vishal, and thank you for your kind introduction. Hello, everybody. Hey, I'm Noé. Once again, we have a new webinar this week. Hey, now for assembly management. Um, every week we have a different topic. Now it's a little bit of manufacturing. The easiest part of manufacturing is assembly management. That you might be interested in understand what it is when we use it, and especially if you would like to make some assemblies. Of course, that's what we're going to be showing today. So to begin, we have a session. This will be taking more or less 1 hour. Surprisingly, it's not a difficult topic. Once it is understood, anyone could implement this if you are also kitting. It's not only for shop floors. This could be for a store as well. This could be for your warehouse. The idea is that even if you are in a supermarket, of course, you are preparing produce, you are preparing your meat, you are packaging, you are doing different finished products with raw material. And I'm going to be showing how we can then transform your raw material into a finished product in a very, very easy way without requiring a complicated implementations. Of course, this applies only to those type of processes that maybe require 1 or 2 steps. And we are going to show why exactly. So, well, let's just begin and then let's give a brief introduction. Once again, to Business Central. Here we have our browser. This is Firefox. Sometimes I use Chrome. As well, I have the Edge. This is my favorite now for the browser that I use the most. Here's my client. This could be installed in the cloud or on premises, but as well, you will be seeing exactly the same. Here in the Tech Chronos, a company where I sell a technology, computers, tablets, speakers, etc. I will be then reviewing my inventory, and I will be checking because I want to prepare a supercomputer with great components only for the special customers, right? Here as well, I can see some KPIs that are related to my sales, to my purchases, my best customers, right? Here as well, in this area, you can see different numbers. Here I have some tasks to be that are ongoing, my quotations, my payments here that I need to process. Well, not the camera, the incoming documents that I'm scanning. Why not some approvals if you want to control your purchases with people reviewing what you are requesting. So the idea is that you can immediately open this, click on any of these, say, let's see, I have 33 purchase orders, and immediately you can start working. And that's the basic idea of all these different features. So you can immediately access a customized screen for your role. We have more than 50 roles for different type of tasks and responsibilities. And of course, we cannot forget that since we are currently integrated with different applications, I might be able to use any of them already and out of the box integrated with Business Central. Let's use an idea. If you want to prepare an assembly management, you can receive an Outlook email. We have Cortana reading those emails for you and preparing the sales orders automatically. That's great stuff. If you want to save some attachments and you have OneDrive with Microsoft, and we recommend you to find that Office and purchase the Office package with us. And of course, then it's going to be part of the different features that you can use, and you can save your files in OneDrive directly. Any attachment can be automatically saved for you. You don't have to do anything else. What else? Well, I really love Power Automate. This is one of the newest features in our new processes where you can add different applications in Power Automation like Teams. Here is Teams. We can unify, so you can post any activity from your business central, like approvals, so your team can see when you approved something, or if you have blocked a customer, then immediately your team will be notified through a post, or if you want, notified an entire channel. Like, well, a channel in Teams is like a Facebook group, let's say. And Power Automate allow us to create approval workflows and other type of features like creating your own alerts, warnings if something is maybe low inventory, and then just tell us what you want. Okay, so that's part of that. I'm gonna have a webinar actually on Power Automation in the following weeks, just for you to know. So let's begin now with, let's just finish some of the uses and the basic navigation, and let's go directly into assembly management. What it is, what happens when you want to review your items, but it happens that you don't have the exact type of item you need, and then you need to prepare a list of components that are going to be let me open the items. It's a little bit slow, by the way. Okay. If you remember, I told you that I have this type of items. I'm in a tech company, reselling, purchasing and reselling a technology, basically to wholesalers, and I have stores. So that's the idea of my company. And here, as you can see, well, many of the items are just purchase and resell them. But sometimes, at least, let me give you an example. Oh, this one, the Buy Power Gaming Desktop, okay? I could offer, if I wanted and if I needed, I could prepare customized items for my customers. So that happens often in this type of industry, where you require specific units, or if you work in the food industry, you might require a specific recipe, basic one. We are not talking about preparing a very large and different steps with machinery and a production line, etc. This is just maybe 1 or 2 steps. It doesn't matter how much or the time, but you would need to take the components out of your warehouse, put them in the shop floor, and maybe 1 or 2 people will be finishing the product. Let me give you an example then. The Buy Power Gaming Desktop, as you can see, is like a CPU that has, even I use this picture to show the idea. It has all the components inside, right? That's why this is transparent, but this is just a single CPU that we sell, we assemble it in our own warehouse, and we don't do anything complicated, only that, all right? This is the first level of manufacturing, by the way. So yes, we would need to have access to that part of, if you want to have it, we would, I believe that this is included in the premium license. So when I just check this, this has an assembly BOM. Here is the item card. The item card currently has different information, of course, related to this item that I will be designing at this point. The Buy Power Gaming Desktop PC is a stock or type inventory item, which means that I count it and I purchase it, transfer it, so it's a physical item, right? But currently, the idea of the process is that I need to review what to do if I want to assemble. Then, well, my item, of course, you can see here has different information, like the cost, like the quantity on hand, the costing method is FIFO, well, different. But the most important setup in the replenishment part, you could normally, for 90% of your items, unless you are a manufacturing company, would be then just a purchase type of item. So if you want to replenish, this means that by automated or manually, you can replenish this item. Then we have as well the assembly type of process to replenish, which means that I do not, and I'm not going to include, or any vendor can provide me this one, right? That's why I need to assemble it. And then I have another type of setup as well in the manufacturing or production tab section, where I have 2 options. the make to stock, and the make to order. What this means is very easy. Okay, the manufacturing policy, when you want to set up the make to stock, means the following. I have some time, I have some people prepared that will be the shop floor, assembling my item, I can just sell it. So I need to prepare my finished product first. Or often it happens in retail, most of the time even, when you have an item that you're, do you have a question, excuse me? Okay, you might have an item that suddenly your customer wants to have a special type of item, and in this case, maybe he wants a special screen or a special processor because he, in the computer world where there are many different type of activities, some of them might be graphical designers. Well, they need a special type of hardware, or some of them are, I don't know, something about architects or of RAM in order to process their design, maximize, minimize, and all that type of calculations and whatever. Well, then you have your customers approaching to you and telling, I need some special device, basically assembly making to order. So the customer is going to tell the instructions through a sales order, right? Or in the POS, where you can order a special order, or no, in retail, they do not call it special order anymore. It's just a customer order, just to avoid confusion there for those of you who have stores. A customer order. And here is just the type of item that we require instructions and we can modify, okay? So two things, the make to stock, we just have an item that we first assemble it without any type of instruction, only that I need to assemble it first and then I can sell it. Or the make to order, a sales order, and I'm just going to assemble my item when I have my sales order already released. So that's what I'm not going to continue with the other type of configurations, because those are more for manufacturing, right? More complicated manufacturing with machinery, with production line, etc. Not to cover in this part. Just to avoid confusion, the assembly process can be used by anyone and the manufacturing is a more complicated setup to work with. And basically, the idea is that we need to separate that. So take the idea, you are learning, we are going through the basics, and you can take this information later if you want to as well work with planning, which is, this is actually quite confusing. You might think of, well, I have a replenishment. This is how I'm going to have my item. And then we have a second step in the planning tab where I can indicate quantities. Okay, this part of both can help me to replenish my company. Let's just stop here for the planning to avoid confusion. Just take the first idea. Assembling is the first part, is the easiest part of manufacturing. Make to order or make to stock. Okay, take those ideas. Third step, whenever you want to use this, you need a assembly bill of materials, where basically is just the component list that you might have, that you can prepare. And here, any assembly BOM, okay, in this case, first of all, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, these 6 different items that I have here are part of the computer that I want to assemble, right? You can see the flat panel, a webcam. Of course, this might include more and more components, right? This is just to present the idea. And here, what happens is that I would include new components by clicking here, new, and from your current catalog of items, well, you might include whatever you need here to prepare a finished product. Another idea for the food industry would be to include the recipe here, and here in the quantity per column, you need to include the quantity or the recipe quantities, excuse me, for we have different ideas here like food, recipes, of course, chemicals, here we have my example in technology, also in the produce area where you are going to prepare chicken wings, let's say, with a special sauce or something like that, right? So continue adding your ingredients in this case, and then you could just prepare them immediately, right? Especially for those stores where you are going to have, of course, you purchase your products, and sometimes you have different ideas. Hey, I have seen that in the supermarkets. Of course, I need some kitting for different type of foods, so and make some produce with different cocktails of vegetables and fruits, or I don't specifically know the name of that type of items, right? But the idea is that you include components, you include here the recipe ingredients, or you might include the chemical ingredients for any type of final mix. Add your quantities, and very important, the unit of measure. We might include here, of course, the smallest unit of measure, sometimes to avoid confusion with other. It's not advisable to include here, for instance, a pallet or include a box. Better include the units that you will be using here. Now, in order to get the assembly idea, you might include just a simple list, very easy to understand, include all your items, or you could include sub-assemblies. Sometimes we have an assembly BOM that requires a subset of components in another list. So in other words, you need in this example for a bi-power gaming desktop, you might have a previous process where you pre-assemble maybe not only the CPU, but you pre-assembly maybe what could be a chair and a desk, where you would literally have different type of items that you sell, right? Completely different items, but if you include it in a list, well, we might then as well be able to sell, but in this case, a kit. So maybe I sell my desk, my chair, my computer as well, which is not that common. It's just an idea that I'm having now. But if you wanted, you could do it, right? So you sell the kit, and that's part of the process, right? And anytime you want to offer a warranty or on everything for the components or for the finished product, remember, we have a service, a management, a webinar that we did last week. I recommend you to go and review, because this might complete all the entire process. But to avoid going to other areas, just giving you ideas, here you include all your components, your kits, your produce, your ingredients, and complete all of the different components. Once that is done, what we do normally is that we need to calculate the standard cost and the unit price, and we review the cost shares. This is part of the regular planification. Remember, we are not yet going to the difficult part. This is just to review the added cost or roll-up cost. Let's review the calculate standard cost process. I'm calculating it right now. And here you have a standard cost of 740. The unit price calculated because of all of my components have a different cost when I purchased the items, when I brought it to the warehouse. Well, all of them have a different cost, and by using these functions, then the idea, the calculated standard cost and the unit price, is that I will be rolling up all the costs and all the prices to calculate at the end, at least automatically, as a suggestion only, a standard cost for you and a unit price. For you to remember, the standard cost is a planified cost that is fixed, okay? Simple as. There are a lot of different type of concepts about a standard cost, but it's very simple. It's just planified cost is fixed because I have roll up my cost, and here I have the 740. You could use it if you want it, but if you better want to use the vendor cost, all the time and having NAV calculating your real profit instead of the planified one, we would use FIFO instead of standard cost. This is just a function that I'm showing you. If you have doubts about costing, let me just give you a brief explanation. Standard cost, which is, remember, fixed, because I have a roll up this cost and I have this cost currently, is I only use it when I would be working with maybe a planification for 6 months, and I need to negotiate with my vendors that the cost will be at least, if could be, I could have an agreement for a specific time, right? And it's not that easy for me to change my costing on a daily or you want to control your reports. Maybe you want to have planified cost against the real cost to see how is your performance. Well, use the standard cost and we can help you to implement this to automatically analyze for you the standard cost, which is, remember, planified, against the real cost with the vendor real cost. That, remember that they are always changing. The real cost is always rising all the time and it's variable. So we can help you to analyze the planification against the real. Very good. Once we understand we have the cost shares, and the cost shares is not, is just the review of whatever you're using here, the components, the expenses. You might include people. Let me just show you this chart just to, behind this we have an entire costing planification, right? But just to give you the actual idea, I'm including only material here. As you can see, everything is great, and the material is this gray that I have, this deep gray, and I have, let me explain you here. You could add subcontracted benefits, cost, I mean, in order to include expenses that when you purchase something that was already prepared, that subcontracted, somebody else helped you to assemble something or gave you some help to prepare your own assembly, this could be added to a vendor, basically. The capacities here, capacity and capacity, overhead and manufacturing overhead manufacturing. This is quite more advanced when we have, for instance, you want to add your electricity expenses, your water expenses. I don't know, just giving some ideas, right? We always have when we work with planification, if we want to go to something more complex, we would need to planify any expense in your shop, in your store, or don't want to talk about a manufacturing line. Just let's keep it simple. We might include material and we might include resources, maybe, and this is called labor. So maybe you want to include the people and the salary, if it's by hour, I don't know, maybe by the day or by a week, according to how you calculate it. We need to include sometimes labor, or how much time in hours, in first place, somebody takes to assemble this unit. And here, well, the components, the material, the total cost is calculating everything. Voila, here I have the material, the total cost, very easy. So it's, as you can see, it's just rolling up. And here I can see my shares. Since I have only added material, everything is completely great. Okay, but take that idea. You can include, once again, first of all, labor, at least for assembly. So it's material and somebody who is preparing the stuff, or maybe the electricity, but it's not complicated. It's just the first part. You don't want to make this over complicated, right? And if you have indirect costs, maybe, I don't know, you are assembling it, but you might include travel expenses, electricity, fuel, something like that. Well, those are indirect costs, not necessary to be here. This is more related to kitting. This is something very, very easy to assemble, right? Like that's why I decided not to include all of these components to avoid further confusion. It's very easy process, one step, I'm just assembling a computer. A technician could do it in maybe 2 hours or 3 hours if he knows and he has some practice, and just basically that. So, okay, once we have that idea that we are just assembling something very, very easy, you can also review the item cards of the components. I'm not gonna go in depth with that, just giving you the idea here. And I'm going to now use this to prepare a transaction, and let's see how it looks. Like I told you, it's very, very easy. We are not gonna go into complications. So this is make to order, and let me see if I have some from, no, this is just resale type of item, resale. Let me think, I need 2 type of items. Oh, another one, the all-in-one computer. Let me see. And make to stock. Okay, I have 2 items that I'm gonna use, and let's see how it looks. First, I'm gonna prepare in the make to stock purchase order. What I'm gonna do is that I'm gonna first of all manually you saw my items that I have components, and I need to first of all purchase the components. And how this helps you here, well, let's take a look. I'm going to create a new purchase order document where I'm going to be sending to my vendor. I need my components. I'm going to start, I need to include a vendor. I'm going to start preparing now my assembly process, right? First, I'm going to planify the quantity of units that I will be assembling according to my plan. That's another a manufacturing planification that I could do. And here, in first place, because I'm starting with the process, so I'm gonna begin with the manual stuff first. I'm including the wide world importer vendor. Here's the general information of the vendor. As well, I have a due date, and let's just recall the item. Well, I mean, let's order the item that I was looking for. I have the buy power gaming desktop is here, and nothing else. All right, the quantity, well, according to your plan, my assembly, all my experience, maybe 5 units every day. So I'm gonna start from the basic one, but normally I would be using the replenishment process to review the planification that I did and order the entire purchases for an entire period. But for now, like I said, it's just manual. I'm going to include 5, very easy, and include a warehouse. Okay, what's the magic behind purchasing for assembly? First of all, if you see I have a finished product here that behind the scene have some some components. If I take a look at the purchase line, I have 0 availability. That's not good. Let's then begin with the first process is exploding the bomb. I don't know the actual components. I'm not the technician. I'm only a purchaser for a second, and I need Business Central to tell me and give me the components that I need to purchase, because I receive a request through maybe a call or through the replenishment plan that somebody needs to start assembling this maybe the following week. So through the manual process or by replenishing, I have requests that can be gathered on a weekly basis in advance, so the purchasers can understand what to order. I'm going to show that at the end if we have time. So you don't have to worry about this part. I'm just showing the manual process, how it looks, okay? And I'm going to bring the components here. Remember, this is automated normally by a plan, all right? But here, I can see the components that were brought here for me to start purchasing them. And I'm just going to include my warehouse. I have main and in a multi-site environment, by the way, where I have different stores, and I have a main warehouse, okay? Because I'm later going to be maybe, I don't know, distributing to my stores, or, well, that's part of the replenishment process. But for now, while I'm purchasing, what I will be doing is just bring all the components And here the quantity was calculated by the units that I have in my bill of materials, so I don't have to review anything else, and I just can order it. Very, very easy, right? So just the function that I run is explode the bomb. So every time you work with assembly management, this is an often a very normal step we do all the time. What you could do here is as well reserve your materials, because we normally don't want, we could actually, if necessary, you as well could sell the same components alone, right? But what happens when you need some components that you also sell, but imagine that any of these components that I will be using is at the last time sold. Well, this will be very bad for me, because if I sell any of these components, well, I won't be able to assemble it, and I will have a lot of inventory that will be useless, that will be in my warehouse, and that's why we use the reserve function oftenly as well. We can do it. And what happened behind the reservation? I'm not going to be able to use it and to sell it basically, or to transfer it to another warehouse. I'm reserving, excuse me, in my warehouse these units, this unit of measure for myself. So I can use them whenever I need them, basically, right? Nobody else can use them if I click on reserve. Then, okay, once this is done, okay, I know that I will be a vendor needing, I'm gonna need a vendor invoice. This is for AP process later. Very good. And that's it, very easy. Now, as you can see, I have the availability here with 19, but this is for my different components. You can start clicking on any of the lines to see the availability, right? Very important when you purchase for assembly components, because you will need to review that you have all these items and they are not zero, right? Well, basically that's the idea. Once this is done, I can send it immediately to my vendor, or if you want it to request to approval, we have workflows as well. And just to give you an idea, we have the regular workflow where in Business Central you need your approvers, but with Power Apps that we can connect, we have now the possibility to publish that information, I don't know, in Teams, in Skype. Well, Skype is not used anymore. In Teams, we use it in Outlook, right? So your approval process can be seen. And here I just seen the print. So the purchase order is here. This is the information that the vendor will be receiving. Okay, nothing else. I just wanted to show you this. We can put here, we can put your logo. We can, if you don't like this this presentation, of course we modify it according to your necessities. Basically, that's it. At the end, what I really want is just to immediately do and post in order to update the inventory after the vendor answered and start shipping the inventory. At some point, I will be receiving it, right? So you can receive an invoice or receive or invoice according to your policies, or in Business Central, we can receive an invoice at the same time. Not used oftenly, but it's possible if you require it. Okay, no problem. I'm gonna just click on OK. And I'm just going to be updating now my inventory and the cost of the purchase in my accounting side. Once that is done, I have my posted purchase invoice. Only when it's posted, then this can be paid to the vendor. Once I have inventory in my warehouse, what I can do immediately, let's take a look at how easy this is if you want to implement it. That's why I wanted to do a real excuse me, a real example with a transaction. So I have the possibility to do assembly orders. Let me show you how easy this is. I currently don't have assembly orders, okay? I don't need any complicated steps, only the design. I believe the design is the most complicated side of any assembly process. And here, what I will be doing now is just creating an assembly order from scratch. In here, in this first part, I will be assembling my components just to have a finished product in my warehouse. So I need to include the item that I want. Remember that I purchased the components for the By Power Gaming Desktop PC. Well, if you don't remember the item that I selected, this is the item that I purchased. Then I broke down the bill of materials, and I know that I have enough pieces to assembly two. Okay, so with that, oh, this is a demo, no problem with this warning. Okay, this is telling me that I have, because in my planification, I have some assembly orders according to my planification, but here you have a due date to finalize the process. And as you can see, it's giving me yesterday to finalize this. I'm behind my own schedule in my demo. I'm gonna change it. So this order needs to be finalized by tomorrow, right? This will be automated, by the way, as you saw, because this is coming for our demand, from your replenishing, for your manufacturing plan, or from an actual sales order, because a customer wanted this item, right? So the due date is important for the assembly order processor, and then when you begin, when you should finish. For now, that's it. Okay, I have included the quantity, and the quantity to assemble field is telling me units that I'm capable to actually assemble with the items that I have. Okay, here is the unit of measure, and let's take a look at the lines. What you see here, since I was ordering this item to be assembled, then Business Central brought immediately the components here that I will be using. So this is the bill of material you designed before, plus if you want to add here, I don't know, resources. Resources is people. Noé could be added here as another expense, but this is coming from your bill of materials. You cannot just suddenly out of, just inventing more expenses. You cannot do that, because we work through a planification in assembly order. Very important to understand that concept. Okay, so basically I see my components here. Let's take a look better at the descriptions, everything related to webcams, the keyboards, the panel for a computer, and the unit of measure, and the location code where I will be maybe assembling this, okay? Okay, so how did I get all this information? Well, and by the way, let's also prepare, I have another item. Let's keep this open. I'm gonna prepare another process and for another item that I saw that, let me see, that has my Power Gaming Desktop. Oh, but the other one was for sales, excuse me. Okay, just to finalize, the cost is here. The cost amount is automatically calculated. And here, very important, if you have an issue, item availability, all right, review this all the time, because if you don't have your components, oof, you're going to stop the line, the assembly line, all right? Basically, that's it. It's very, very easy. You include the components, review, include the product, and include the lines, and guess what? You are finalizing a product, a finished product, just by including and using an assembly order, and using this function. Oh, I need to pick some items here. Let me see which warehouse I included. Create warehouse pick. Since I'm using here WMS, I forgot for this warehouse, release. Okay, very important. Sometimes it depends of the flavor of the warehouse. If it's basic, it's not going to ask for anything. You just can post it. But if you're gonna work with WMS, now this is waiting for me to go to the picking area, take my components, and bring them to the zone where I'm assembling. This is what this is asking. Okay, so first you need to release, and then I'm going to, let me see if I can create a warehouse pick immediately. And I'm the admin, yes. Let me see if I have enough. Okay, I have a pick activity, and I just need to pick my items. So what I need to do is to go to this area where I pick my components. Let me remember the location where I pick. Picking. No. Inventory picks, warehouse picks. Okay, what I'm gonna be doing, excuse me, I just forgot that I am working with WMS. In the following example, I'm gonna use a basic one just to make it faster. But in the warehouse pick, what this is telling me automatically, because behind the scene I run a function that is helping me, otherwise it could take me a lot of time to do it manually. But this is telling me that, hey, let's review this. I have a warehouse pick. Let's review what a warehouse pick is. I was assigned, I'm the administrator today. And here, for a second, I will be a warehouse clerk. And I receive an activity in my tablet. I have received an alert. Hey, somebody wants to assemble something. I receiving a document for a warehouse pick to take inventory from the picking zone. In my own warehouse, I have different zones like the bulk, the cross-docking, the picking zone. Gonna go back in a second, production zone, but just giving you the basic idea of what I'm doing. Here, it's telling me that I have some components that I will be picking from the picking area, and just please place the components in the assembly area. And here, well, I would need my handheld if I'm in a WS environment and read the barcodes, take the items from the actual picking zone, and here the bin code that is here. Okay, so this is telling me automatically that I need to replenish, and this is giving the instructions to the warehouse clerk, go to this zone, go to this bin, take my items and place them into the assembly zone and put them in the assembly in bin. Basically, that's it, very easy. Once I understand this document, well, I'm not gonna continue giving more instructions about WMS, but once that is done, let me see, process, I can register my pick. What this means is that I was taking my components from one a warehouse area and taking them to the assembly zone where I'm actually having somebody assembling the items, right? So that's the basic idea. And here I'm going to have my components here. And the idea is that whenever I have my items already picked, then the status, of course, is released. And I have my components now available in my bins or in my shelves in my assembly zone, and I just can take them when they are already there. So you can, let me see if the availability is here, calculated. Not yet. But I know that I have enough inventory, and I'm just going to post the order, meaning that I have, well, for me as the technician, I will be assembling everything. It might take 1 hour, 2 hours, depends, right? But the idea is once you finish this, coming back to an assembly order, it was very easy. I just included my item, the components were filled automatically, and when the work is finished, just click on post, and everything will be just calculated automatically and finished. So that's it. Okay, my assembly order is finished. As you can see, it's very, very easy. The difficult part is how to design. The easiest part is just prepare a single document with the quantity you want to assemble, and immediately the product is finished. Nothing complicated at all right? Hopefully this is easy to understand with all this explanation. But okay, the idea is that now I have finished product that I can sell, and I just basically assemble it in my workshop, before even having the actual demand. The actual demand was reviewed before, maybe reviewing the sales operations, reviewing the reports, reviewing the locations where I'm selling something, and I don't know, I would need now to transfer my items. But currently, I have 141 finished product, okay, units, I mean, of this finished product. Basically, that's it, okay? That's the assembly process, very, very easy. Now, I'm gonna explain another process, and let me explain something very important that I always receiving is, look at this. We have all the specific historical data for all the entire system, how many you have sold, how many you have purchased, 0, because I'm assembling this item. Very important to understand. And well, here I have an assembly output. Instead of purchasing it, I'm assembling this item. Of course, whenever I work with this type of operations, I as well would need to understand my actual costs. Here is the unit cost. Remember that I have the standard planified cost of 740. Very good, but at the end, the vendors are always changing the cost. They love to change the cost, increase the cost. They love, my vendors always are doing it, no matter if I do agreements. Well, at the end, you will need to review the actual unit cost. Here we have the historical data of the real cost, where you will be checking and the increases of the inventory, the item, the unit cost, the quantities that you were actually purchasing, selling, everything, right? And you need to understand, for instance, I have an increase through an assembly order of 100. Okay, so one thing is when I'm purchasing, but the assembly process also have some costs. So it's adding and rolling up the cost to have the real cost that might be differing from the actual real planified cost. If you would like to have a report, this is really good. This is just the average for the entire period, all right? But you might need a report maybe to review for 1 week, for a specific season, I don't know, it depends. But we can help you to review the planified against the real cost that you are actually incurring. And this is reflected in your GL accounts, in the cost specifically, in the cost area, and the expenses as well, where we gather according if it was labor, remember that we reviewed that, if it was the components, whatever, we are recording all the information for any report that you would like to see. Okay. Once that is done, excuse me, as you can see, is a whole explanation behind the design and the cost. That's the difficult part here. Actually, assembling is very easy. But the difficult part is to understand that we might have, if you want it, planified or standard cost whenever you need it. And basically, if you want, we can review as well with you. If you want to use the replenishing process as well to help you with this, which is quite complex as well. Okay, but if you only want to, and you manually purchase, you still doing the manual process that I'm mentioning, but you need the assembly order, you saw that it just one single document. Let me just do the final transactions to finalize, but I'm going to explain just another concept, which is the assembly to order. The assembly to order is when my customer requires a specific order, and I'm going to get the instructions to assemble, but from a sales order. This is going to take you 10 minutes. It take us 10 minutes. Don't worry. I told you that this will take us 1 hour, more or less. And here I'm going to create a new sales order for any random customer at Datum Corporation. Whenever I create a sales order, I'm going to need to include, of course, the customer that is requesting this. This can be, and this sometimes is requested by Outlook. Remember that we have integration with Outlook. You can create, while you're having meetings with your customers, this sales order. And with Cortana, we can read automatically the text that was requested by your customers, and Cortana will create the sales order automatically for you. Your customer only needs to send you an email with the actual name of the item. For instance, you might receive an Outlook message about hey, I want the Dell in one computer, and we can click. Let me just finalize, and I can show you after that functionality. But for now, okay, no matter which channel or maybe the POS, you can have a request for a specific item that is special, that might be specific with specific features, right? Or you have versions. That happen a lot in retail. They call it versions. You might have the same Dell in one computer 3, and my example, with 8 gigabytes, but somebody talking about computers might require more RAM. It happens very often. So yes, they can do so. It's not a problem. They can order whatever they want, and we can just from the POS order it. The thing with me for now for the sales operation is that there are a lot of different channels, and I don't have enough time to show everything, right? And sorry for that. It would be really great to show everything, but I'm gonna keep it simple from the sales order. Once it is done, I will be just including the items that I need to assemble. What happened here is that it doesn't matter the channel from where I'm ordering. The idea is that I will be creating a simple sales order in Business Central. And once that is done, let me see the item. Let me see if select from full list, if my configuration is fine. Okay, let me see my item because I was seeing that something is not happening in my sales order. Let me just correct it. Oh, here is the issue. It's not make the stock. Let's make this to order. Fine. Okay. Well, the setup that I changed, let's just review this. Voila. Okay. What happens in a sales order is that your customer is arriving, is coming with you, and then I need to prepare a new one. And he's going to start asking for your item, and he's going to tell you, hey, I need something special, but you are ordering from the actual sales order. And here what is going to happen is that it's going to create for us an assembly order automatically. So nothing else, is just very easy. I'm going to then include my items here and review the assembly to order process. Order fine. Okay, and what happened here is that Business Central is reviewing you want your item to be sold. Your customer is requesting 2, but this automatically creates in this field quantity to assembly or to assemble to order is as well having 2. Very important now to understand that we are synchronizing 2 documents at the same time. This could happen as well in your store. You can assemble it directly here. Oh, let's take a item availability. I might need to purchase. Let me see if I can assemble directly to avoid more transactions. But the main idea is that once we have, and even we can see the assembly order again from the actual sales order. So here are the components that will be included. Here you can ask to your customer what they want, and you might include and change any item. Here the graphic program maybe is not good, or the webcam, they don't want them, and they want to change another I don't know, another keyboard. They want to add another type of a panel. Here the flat panel, the graphic program. You might customize whatever you need with the quantities as well that will be assembled at the end, right? So that's very, very important. And from here as well, you could reserve these items. You are the salesperson, not only the assembly person. So I'm talking with my customer and what he wants, when he needs it, and how the customization more or less will be. And I could as well review, first of all, if I have enough inventory, very important. If I have a substitution for some items, whenever I don't have any of my items, review the assembly bomb, explode the bomb. Well, it's already exploded, there's no problem. And well, that's for WMS, create warehouse inventory movements, and review your availability for the location, for the period, for an event, according to what you are selling, all right? We have all these functions now. Now, what I want to do, nevertheless, is just to show the assembly document, the assembly order that was created automatically. I never created this. This was done by Business Central when I requested this item to be customized in the actual sales process, and automatically it's synchronizing and sending the instruction to the actual assembly clerk, right? So basically, let's say that, okay, I want this item, just please, the actual customer actually wants it. I'm just going to release it. And but once I'm releasing, oh, this is telling me that I don't have enough inventory. Never forget about it. I might need to purchase now. Okay, that's very important. While you're selling, you need to provide those instructions. And then we have another function. Let me see, to plan. And we have the function where we can tell our customer, when are we able to give you our item? So we have the function behind the scene, we can calculate it, and the order so we have a calculation to deliver this. Remember that I was working at the environment to deliver it yesterday, okay? That's my error because I didn't complete some steps for the planifying process. I went directly to assembling it. And that could be a real issue, right? Actually, sometimes you don't have enough inventory. So I might need to immediately tell and use the functions and to check. For instance, let's try to, okay, actually currently I don't have enough items. So the due date, I need to change it because these functions actually are running in real time. And you would need to actually give an idea about the actual processes that you might be running. And the idea is that here with the function, you can tell to your customer when you can deliver something. Okay. Once that is done, I'm just going to try to, let's say, okay, it's sent to be posted. Let me see if I can just immediately post it from here. Okay, and this is telling me, hey, since you are not assembling the item, I'm the sales order processor, I need to assign a serial number here. Very important. Whenever I assembly, we recommend to assign serial numbers, except for food industry, where you might just, continue with your with the produce or packing your beverages or anything, right? So that you can use it very well for those type of examples. All right, but for that process, let me see, I'm going to need to open by myself. This actually doesn't happen here in the sales order process. I'm communicating now to the shop floor to review the assembly of my requisition because I cannot post it. Somebody needs to give me an answer about what's happening here. And the idea is that I just need to assign, I will need to assemble this item and assign a serial number for my items that I'm assembling. So first, I receive from the sales order my instruction. Second, in the shop floor, somebody is assembling now the item for the customer, maybe immediately, or we would need to use the capable to deliver function to tell them when, according to my planification, I can deliver, right? The only step I didn't do is that I didn't complete previous steps for planning. For now, just for the demo, I'm focusing currently just on the assembling documents, but the function actually will review how much time you need to assemble this, right? And telling the customer when we can deliver. But currently we are seeing, or my customer is reviewing yesterday's date, okay? Let me just change this, at least for now. And what I'm doing is assembling just and providing the serial numbers. And once that is done in the assembly order, right? Remember that. I'm assembling it for the customer, providing all the different instructions like the lot numbers, serial numbers, what else? Sometimes I need a prepayment, right? That's very important for assembling before assembling anything. You might require prepayments, all right? So as well, we could just send let's print email confirmation. Let me see if here is. Very well. So here we have the email that we will be sending to our customer. If we receive something, your payment will be done. You might receive a discount, right? And this is can be sent immediately. As an example, we are having a PDF document that your customer will be having. Okay, so here we have tons of options that you might have here. And well, basically, or printing the confirmation, right? Nothing else for now. Okay, but for me, I will be then just posting my order once it was assembled, once the serial number was assigned, and then you can just post it. Let me see if the inventory was enough. And you might now open the invoice, meaning that the final operation is done. What happened here when I have an assembly order linked to my sales order? I just assemble it automatically, created an assembly order automatically. The warehouse or in the store, the warehouse clerk received the instruction without seeing anything. He's having no contact with the customer. It's not necessary. This was sent maybe by a POS or by an Outlook instructions. And at the end, once this is done, you can just print the invoice and send and give it to your customer, or I don't know. Let me see. Generate a report. That's another option. I have PayPal currently. Well, just in the demo, if you wanted, you can use it. Where for Mr. Robert Towns, okay, you can prepare I'm preparing the invoice automatically. I'm not doing anything. Also, this is reviewing if this customer is eligible for discounts and giving the possibility automatically if you pay before the 28th of this month. And well, with PayPal, we have integration with Business Central. If you want to use it with your customers, because the idea is that we want to accelerate this process, and we have reminders as well and other functions. But because remember, this is very important when we are assembling. We need to receive payments. If you want a prepayment, this is very important. And well, once this is done, I'm just will be then giving the idea. We have a PayPal with this is not real money, but $2,000 that I have here. I was giving some preparing some exercises. But if you have a PayPal account, if you want to use it with Business Central, you can immediately send the account in your actual emails. Okay, that's it basically for now. I have posted my invoice, finishing the sales operation, finishing the assembly process automatically. This process is called assembly to order. We have a sales invoice attached, and that's it. All right, so excuse me for the minutes I'm taking from you, but this is it for today. This is the final transaction we are showing, just some of the features we have. Remember, the assembly process only have two: assembly to stock. So before selling, we are assembling it. This is for kits. This is for produce, for food and services. If you want to combine two different items that you might offer as a kit, we can use it only with one click, preparing one document, voila, the finished product is done. And the most complex one is related to assembly to order, when we receive sales orders from different channels. maybe from a POS, maybe from Outlook, maybe or manually done. If you want to in your warehouse as well, sell your items. Well, while we are selling, we can prepare an assembly order automatically that will be synchronized with your sales operation, with whatever you are assembling, customized for your customer. And we have functions that are going to tell you in case you don't have enough inventory, when according to the replenishing process and according to the assembly your user and your people requires to assemble something, well, you can tell your customer when you can deliver. So basically that's the idea. And hopefully this was easy, not giving you too much confusing information. And yes, the idea is that this could be much more complex. We could add replenishment, we could add planification, we could add timesheets to review a dispatching board for the people that in the assembly workshop is working, but that's more and more complicated. The idea for now is more how we use the simple assembly process for our customers that are more related to wholesaling and for retail. So hopefully you have enjoyed this. I don't know if you have any other further doubts. Oh, not to mention that we have cost planification. That is just quite complex sometimes, not gonna lie you. We sometimes need to make some adjustments, scrap for food and beverages most of the time, and so on, but it's possible, and that's it. So if you don't have further questions, that is the end of this webinar. Thank you very much for your time, and see you in the following webinars. You can check in optimus.guru in the training section all the topics we are going to have. And I'm going to be giving you more ideas for in the cloud, for more integrations like with PayPal, with Flows, with Teams, with Outlook, right? And I told you just as a bonus that I was going to show you that from Outlook we can take orders automatically with Cortana. This only takes 1 minute because I was ordering Microsoft Flow, OneDrive test. Oh, I have integrations and more integrations. Okay, let me see where I have a request for sales. Finally, Noah Wellman, sales quotation. Okay. This, I'm receiving an email just as a bonus. In Outlook, I have in my email somebody called Noah Wellman is asking in an email, as per our last call, can you send me a quotation for specific items, right? Not related to our webinar today. This is food, bananas, apple, pineapples. Thank you in advance. Okay, just as a bonus, I'm gonna go, and we have in Business Central different type of integrations. In Outlook, I can immediately see Mr. Noah Wellman if he's working with any of my customers in Business Central. Remember that here I have the contact information, a beautiful picture with LinkedIn. Everything is, let me sign in to Business Central from here. And here you can see that I'm currently accessing in Business Central from my own email, right? So that's very the instruction. What I'm going to be doing is, okay, information from Mr. Noah Wellman that is working with any of my customers. Now Business Central is reviewing with Cortana the details of the past work that I have with this person because he wants a quotation. Okay, I have the balance here, and guess what? He has some credit here and he hasn't paid. So it's in red. Let's take a look at that. That's very important. The H accounts receivable information. Give me the chart. Oh, they have a lot of payments pending. Okay. And here the sell to customer sales history, ongoing sales, quotations, how many orders, how many operations you have, and some customer statistics, all right? I could go and go, but currently now the idea is that you want to take an order for an assembly process or something. And then if he's asking for a quotation, let me see, sales quote. Excuse me. Excuse me. Now, the sales quote, let me see. Cortana is checking for me the information. Okay, Cortana just review what this customer is looking for from my actual process. And here I have the items the current items that he's looking for, and if I have them in my own inventory. So you can, well, Cortana is checking, yes, we have organic bananas, and we have apple gala, all right? Not on, and the quantities that he's looking for, 10 and 10 kilograms. I don't have pineapples currently, but Cortana is helping me with this. So I don't have to open Business Central and reviewing if I have inventory or not, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So this is a very good automation. And voila, if you like it, well, suggest line items and just click on this to finalize your quotation. So here, that is the final bonus idea that you can use with Business Central. So now this is actually preparing the quotation for me, actually prepare it. So it included the customer is for Adatum Corporation with this guy, Noe Wellman is working, the contact information, the lines that will be requested through a quotation, and basically that's it. So as you saw, it was very easy, 1 or 2 clicks. I don't have to do anything else. And well, if you actually also, you can make it an order, make negotiations. Of course, first send the quotation, okay? So before creating an actual sales order. So that's understandable, right? So used to be. Once that is done, nothing else, you can just send it, send the actual order, or make the order, or make an invoice. So they can receive now this quotation immediately. You don't have to do anything else, and you can just prepare. Let's see, let's go to the following step, make an order. Do you want to convert this quote to an order? Because we might need to immediately assemble something. And I'm just working in my car or something, and everybody, oh, I don't have enough inventory. Sorry for that, but I will need to review and send it now to the replenishing process. But the idea is here. You are having all the information. You don't have to do anything else, nothing complicated. And well, why not to post it anyway? And you can send it immediately. Okay, I don't have inventory, sorry, but that's the idea. You saw how now the integration helped me to create an order. My problem is I don't have inventory, but that's another step that I would need to complete. For now, that is all. Thank you very much for your time. And if you have any question, well, just let me know. So have a nice day, guys. This was a very good session, and see you next week.